Thanks for coming out tonight, guys, during the summer, the heat of the summer, August. So happy to have you here. My name's Lauren Halstead. I work for Chainlink Labs. I lead business development for sports, media, and entertainment. I also am a partner at Startup with Chainlink, so any startups out there that want to get involved, please let me know. We have two great panelists today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but the topic for today is NFTs, beyond NFTs, asset-backed collectibles. So give a warm welcome and a round of applause for our panelists today. All right, so sit down. I'll let you guys both introduce yourselves. If you could explain to the audience what project you're working on, your names, what your role is in the project, that would be great.
Thank you. Hey guys, my name is Serge. I'm a co-founder of a project called Digible. We are a collector's metaverse, mainly for sports cards and Pokemon cards, so trading cards, collectibles, things like that. We try to add gaming elements, and the idea is NFTs are legal title to actual physical things. That's it.
Hey everyone, my name is Sam Falic. I'm the co-founder and president of BlockBar. What we do at BlockBar is we sell NFTs directly from luxury liquor brands, so luxury spirit and wine brands, where each NFT corresponds to an actual physical product, and then you as the consumer have the ability to burn the NFT and redeem the physical product.
Awesome. So for the audience out there, would you both mind describing in your own words what the definition of phygital means?
I think the definition of phygital is exactly what it sounds like. It's kind of that intersection between digital and physical, where right now, at least in the beginning, when a lot of people heard about NFTs, they thought it was just digital. But that's not necessarily true. Digital could serve as a bridge and a gateway into physical goods. And that was kind of the opportunity that we saw, where, I'm sure a lot of people have had the same hurdle that I've had whenever you start telling people about NFTs, they look at you like you have three heads, where you can utilize NFTs to solve actual problems in several different industries. So for us specifically, we saw an opportunity to use NFTs not just as a marketing campaign, but as a way to solve a problem in an actual industry that consumers have, and also solve a problem for a lot of the brands that they have in the industry. So when we explain what we do, we say that if you know nothing about cryptocurrency, if you know nothing about NFTs, you could still interact with our platform, because the NFT is just an efficient way to prove authenticity and ownership. So it really is just the bridge between digital and physical.
Totally agree with that. Perfect description. And one other thing, it also lets you easily trade it versus, as you said, in wine spirits, you're stuck in the wine spirits world. In trading cards, you're stuck in hobby store world. Here, you're in the blockchain, so you can easily trade assets through phygitals very, very quickly. That's the best, probably, use case.
So I guess the next question is, it's easy for me to hear this out loud, but it's more difficult in practice and theory. But say your holders have the NFT, how would they go about actually receiving the assets that's backing that NFT?
So for us, they burn the NFT. So they send the NFT to a burn address. Before they do that, specifically, just because we deal in spirits and wine, they have to put in all their information to make sure that we could ship the product to them and that they're of legal age. Also, there's some restrictions, of course. Certain states, certain countries can't receive that product. But they send it to the burn address, they fill in that information. If the information is valid, the NFT is sent, and then we send them the physical product.
In our case, it's very similar. We have both on-ramp and off-ramp. You can get your collectible onto the chain by sending it in. There's a code you get for each account, your wallet address. And then as you redeem, you burn the NFT same way, and then your shipping address is your shipping address, you get it, and that's it.
So for the people who have bought the NFT, what would you say the burn rate is so far for the people who have actually claimed those assets?
For us, it really depends on the price point. So we are solving a problem in the spirits and wine world where that issue is really only present in the premium and super premium category, which in the industry is defined by $300 and above. So the cheapest NFT that we've sold is $350. The most expensive NFT that we've sold is $256,000. But for us, the lower price point that the product is, we usually see a higher redemption because we prove authenticity up until the point of consumption. So when consumers are ready to consume the product, that's when they really burn the NFT to get the product. So the lower price point products are more common that people want to consume it. The higher price point products, they're probably going to sit on it for a little bit longer.
We haven't seen much redemptions at all. Most people want to have their collectibles on the chain and be able to trade them and wait for a long time. So we have never seen yet somebody just buying it to take it. Even the giveaways we've done before, where people just get the NFT, they can just say, claim, get me the card. Nobody's even done that. So they like to be on the chain.
Okay. So besides the obvious asset that's backing the NFT, people love to hear about utilities, quote, that you get along with owning the NFT. Would you say that your projects or your NFTs provide other utilities besides the actual asset, or do you provide other perks to them as well?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, part of the issue in the spirits and wine world is the fact that you can't necessarily buy direct to consumer. So if you are trying to buy a super premium bottle, the first issue that you're going to face is where exactly do you buy it? Meaning you can't buy it directly from the brand legally if you're in the United States. You're probably not going to really go to a Sotheby's auction. But the biggest issue is once you have that product, it's virtually impossible for you to prove authenticity. So that's why all of our products come directly from the brand. So it's built-in authenticity. And then the brands are utilizing this sort of new technology and new way to interact with the consumers to give offers to exclusive content, whether that's a virtual tasting or an invite to the distillery, exclusive access to future drops, discounts off future drops, merchandise. So our brands are really excited about it because they've never had this CRM model. Right now in the US, when you buy a product at your local liquor store, that goes from the brand to a distributor, to a retailer, to the consumer. So the brand has almost zero insight into who their consumers are actually buying the product. So our brands are definitely taking advantage of it, and that's kind of why they're getting into this space, to really interact with more consumers.
At Digible, we have gaming elements. So if you have certain cards, you can duel against other cards, which works same way as it worked in high school. You just one wins the other. We are adding skill-based games as well, also event-based, for example, for sports fans, during drafts, certain events are happening. So each card has its own unique attribute within the gaming world.
Cool. So you mentioned brands. So what type of celebrities and big brands have jumped on board with your project?
The most recent drop that we did was actually with Remy and Usher, where it was a completely exclusive allocation, so the product was only available on our site. But we've done drops with Hennessy, Glenfiddich, Dictador, I'm blanking right now, but Patron, Johnny Walker. We have a lot more exciting collaborations coming up all the time too. Most people don't know this, but most of the liquor companies are owned by the same conglomerate. So for example, Diageo is a huge company. They own Johnny Walker, they own Jose Cuervo, they own Captain Morgan. So for us, we work with the big umbrella portfolios, and what we're trying to do is get on board most of their other brands.
Awesome. Those are big brands, so it's fun.
And tasty too.
I should have brought samples.
Yeah, I should have. We work with Steve Aoki and his Aoki's Card House collection. We have UFC Fight Club and other private collectors that are on the board.
And would you say you think those guys, do you think they're here for the long run? Like when you speak to these brands or celebrities, do you think most of them have the Web3 ethos, or it's more of they're just like going with the hype? I work in entertainment too, so it's I think most people who come to us are either Chainlink fans or really understand what Chainlink is if they reach out to us first. But it's interesting for me to hear how they get in touch with you.
Yeah, I mean, my family comes from this industry, so we've kind of had a lot of those relationships for a long time. But the landscape has changed a lot recently. I mean, initially when we were going out to these companies, they wanted nothing to do with crypto, wanted nothing to do with NFTs. But that conversation started slowly shifting. And especially when more companies get on board, it kind of validates the industry overall. And our whole pitch to these companies, because we approach them, we get a lot of inbounds, but we really approach the big brands, is this shouldn't just be a marketing campaign. This shouldn't just be a ploy. This isn't a money grab. This is an opportunity to enter the space in an authentic way, solve a problem for consumers that are already collecting, reach an entirely new demographic. And it's a problem that everybody can really understand. It's pretty universal, specifically in this industry. So from the companies that we have onboarded, we see them getting into it in an authentic way. And we think that they're going to be here for the long run. Every company that we've done a release with, has already signed up to do another release, and a lot of them have linked their new releases with their previous releases to kind of create this long-term relationship with their brands, with their new fans.
Very similar story with us, especially collecting is also a very long game in general. You know, spending decades, it's also a hobby. So people who are into collecting business are also collectors themselves, and they also understand that everybody collects something. So it's definitely a longer game with ability to trade collectibles easily later. So that's pretty much what it's all about.
Were there any top sales or trades or anything you've been involved in you want to highlight to the audience? Or do you think we covered it in pretty much the last question? Would be the...
We had a fun drop of one of the original, like Yoki's breaks of a shadowless Pokemon box. So all of that was broken. We actually used Chainlink to randomize the results on that one. All the cards went, we graded to PSA, and for Pokemon fans, he pulled 2 Charizards out of it. So.
Yeah, for us, the most expensive NFT that we sold was $256,000. It was actually sold to a crypto community, which was just the best use case for us. It's the best, case study. But then on top of that, our largest secondary sale was a product that was initially bought for 37 ETH and then was sold a couple months later for 50 ETH.
That's extremely impressive. So it's a huge drop.
We have some lower price point
you
ones
have some
also.
lower prices?
Yeah.
Well, it always changes from day to day, but definitely exciting to see, and probably helps move the mark with the big brands to see that happen. What do you guys see the future of do you see this evolving to become, a closer connection between digital and physical, or do you think we've kind of plateaued on where we're solving the problem?
No, I think it's a little bit of both. I think, as the technology was so new, the use case that most people thought of immediately was art. But there's so many other use cases that go far beyond art, whether it's collectibles, whether it's gaming, or liquor, which not many people really thought of when this industry came out. So I think that a lot of these brands are still getting started. It's cliche to say it's still early, but it really is. The landscape is still being built out, so I still think it's still the beginning.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is as soon as people realize that when they need something, either the only place to get it is here, or the easiest place to get it is here, then we'll see more and more adoption. So that requires cool things, like cool drinks, cool cards, cool cars, cool things in general. And if you want that thing, you will go to lengths to get it, right? Just because it's NFT, most people say, okay, it's NFT, and then what? And then there's no answer, right? So if there's an answer behind that, we think is going to have a lot of staying power.
I agree. I think it's only going to get bigger from here, and just showing people these examples it's so important, because people constantly ask me, like, when am I going to be able to put Picasso on a blockchain, or Chihuly, or all these fine arts. I think is a big area that's really wants to solve the problem. So it's great to have you guys here setting a standard for what's possible in the space, and I greatly appreciate it. I don't have that many more questions for today. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to share or speak about while we're up here? Any specific questions from the audience?
I have a question. So that's pretty interesting.
Hold on. We'll get you a microphone.
Hey, what's up? So it's a pretty interesting concept to combine digital and physical. I'm one of those people that have been following crypto since around late 2012, early 2013. I remember when ETH was still in alpha stage, $5. Should have bought some, but hey, it is what it is. But my question is, let's say, because it's pretty interesting use cases, right? But let's say I want to buy a bottle of King Louis, right? Let's say it's $6,500 right now on the market, and I hold it for 5 years. Where is that bottle held? Is it held in a vault somewhere? Because the thing is, the problem with physical items, in my opinion, is that they can get damaged, they can get lost, they can get stolen. So how is that done behind the scenes?
Yeah, so for us, and that's part of the problem that a lot of consumers have, where there's no guarantee if that product is being stored somewhere else. So that's why, for us, all of our products are sold directly from the brands themselves. So if anything happens, there is that relationship between the consumer and the brand. And then our physical products are stored in a bonded, secure facility in Singapore. And part of the reason we put it in Singapore is just because it's one of the safest countries in the world for products like this. When we got quotes from insurance companies, the cheapest place to get insurance was in Singapore because of how safe it is. So for consumers, there's free storage, free insurance. I can't say that the risk goes down to zero, but we reduce the risk as far down as possible.
Hey, thank you both for coming. I have a question about, well, first a little more details about the $256,000 sale, and also like who that was to, and if like either of you guys are thinking about more communal ownership of these NFTs that are backed by physical assets.
Yeah, so that product was Hennessy. It was for 2 bottles of a product called Hennessy 8. It's called Hennessy 8 because it was made by 8 different distillers. So a little bit of liquid from each different distiller in a crazy glass bottle. It was sold to a crypto community called the Angry Pipple Club. We had no idea that they were going to buy it, but it ended up being amazing. You know, if you were to think a couple years ago for Hennessy to sell a product to a community of 10,000 people all around the world, predominantly 25 to 34, it's unimaginable. But that is one case where it was fractionalized and sold to a community. Another example that we've done of that is we sold a barrel of wine to a community of 20 people. It was just a WhatsApp group where when that barrel gets bottled, it's going to turn into 300 bottles, and the NFT is going to update into 300 NFTs assigned to those individual wallets. So for right now, we don't really deal with fractionalization on site, but we have seen a lot of fractionalization by communities coming in and buying the products themselves.
So I'm not sure what chain you guys are on, but obviously there's a talk of potential, hard fork or whatnot going forward. And if that happens, you guys potentially have 2 NFTs. How do you guys kind of approach that going forward? Are you guys going to pick one, or is it going to be? I'm not sure how you guys would approach that. Just curious.
I mean, for us, the truth is it's not really a big deal which chain we're on, because at the end of the day, the NFT is just used to prove authenticity of a physical product. We're built on Ethereum, so yeah, that change is coming. Part of the reason that we chose Ethereum is because we think that it's very powerful to join a very large network. And also the complaints with the gas fees, which are understandable, it's not as big of a concern when you're buying a product that's at a much higher price point, which is why we chose Ethereum. Also, if you think about all the people we have to explain our product to, first we have to explain NFTs, then we have to explain luxury liquor investing. It would just be another barrier if we had to choose another chain and explain to people why that chain is. So if a split does happen, we'll probably go with whichever one gets more notoriety with a bigger network.
We're cross-chain, including Ethereum, and we're going to go with the newer fork as it goes along. But it doesn't matter for the same reason as you described.
And I'll jump in. I know you mentioned previously, but would you guys mind explain how you plan or have integrated Chainlink into your projects?
Yeah, so again, part of our thesis was we wanted to make buying an NFT as seamless as possible, to the point where some people don't even know that they're dealing in crypto, because they hear about a product, it's completely exclusive, it's sold directly from the brand. They go onto the website, they have the ability to buy it in dollars or in ETH, and then once they have that product, they can redeem it immediately, in which case it operates like a regular e-commerce platform, or now they have the added benefit to opt into having it stored for them. But because we wanted to give a lot of consumers the flexibility in price, in our marketplace, we wanted to give owners the ability to resell their product in ETH or USD. So basically, whatever happens with the price of ETH, you can benchmark it in ETH or USD. So we're using Oracle to help us facilitate that sort of transaction for consumers, giving consumers the ability to list the product in USD on the secondary marketplace. So then if ETH goes up or down, the price is going to be benchmarked in ETH, in USD, I mean.
We use the Chainlink's VRF random function for 3 projects underneath Digible. One is called DigiWax. It's randomization of drops of pretty much digitally seal a pack, and then whoever gets it, Chainlink decides pretty much. We have dueling is also random function of VRF of Chainlinks, and the third is we have a thing we're releasing called evolution and mutation chambers, where cards evolve and mutate into other cards, and that process is governed by randomization from Chainlink.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think your project could use VRF too. I was initial on the GGM team for VRF, so it's super cool what you can do with it. You can have like one of those NFT holders randomly be selected to get a super rare NFT for Jack Daniels or something, and then pull them into another community.
Yeah, for sure.
Not even quite sure why I brought this, but awesome. Well, thank you guys for all coming. Big round of applause for the panelists. I would like to invite everybody here to SmartCon, September 28th through 29th in New York City. We do have a builder's discount for you, which makes the ticket 80% off, which I think is much more approachable for everybody. So we'd love to give you that discount. We'd love to see you all there. Thank you guys. Enjoy the pizza and the beer and the drinks, and have a great night. Thanks, guys.